Hey everybody, hope you're having a good weekend. It's your boy, CRS Firearms here. Today we're going to be doing another caliber comparison. So this one has kind of a different origins. So I'm scrolling through Facebook, right, just chilling. I'm like, 270 versus 308. It popped up this little article of some hunting website. Anyways, I'm like, that's stupid. Why would you even compare that? They're not even in the same wheelhouse. So I keep scrolling and then I'm like, you know what? I'll bite. I'm going to back up and I'm going to check this out. Because you know what? They both came from the 30-06. So it's like, which one of 30-06 children is more successful? And I start reading the article. And it turns out not to be a caliber comparison at all. It's talking about feelings, blah, 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 blah. If you shoot this, you're this kind of hunter. If you shoot the 270, you're all about, making that perfect shot. And if you shoot the 308, you're all about committing to a shot. It's basically one of those horoscopes for hunters, right? They have them all the time. Like, if you shoot a 30-06, it means this about you. Which is basically a fancy way of being like, what's your sign? So, girls have horoscopes, and they base it off of like stars alignments and shit like that. Guys have horoscopes, and hunters have horoscopes based off of what calibers they shoot. Same translation. So, I'm like, you know what? I need to do a video on this because I want to do it in the way I'd like to see it because I'm curious about the information myself. So, let's start off with a little quick history. So, in 1925, that's where the 270 came from. It was a neck-down 30-06. Now, so the apparent case isn't a 30-06, right? It's the case before the 30-06. But, generally speaking, everyone's just going to say it's a neck-down 30-06 because, well, that's just, it's easier to quantify in most people's heads because the apparent case, which is, I can't remember the name, it's like 3003, I think it was. I'd have to go and check. I'll roll it in right here. Anyway, let's see apparent case. Nobody even knows what that is. You say 30-06, like, oh yeah, I know what that is. That's what goes in the BAR. The M1 Grand shoots that. And 1903 Springfield, just off the top of my head. And like 12 of my dad's hunting rifles. But now you say the 3003, and I don't know anyone that shoots that. So, I don't even know what kind of rifle it came in. Like I said, 30-06 is pretty much what people are going to call the apparent case. So, it's a 30-06, and it's neck down to 277 or 6.8. And before we go any farther, the biggest thing I need you to remember is if you'd like to help support the channel directly, the best way to do that is shop at OnlyTech at Shopify.com, where you can purchase cool shirts like We Love the ATF t-shirt, or I can have MREs on there. Great stuff. And remember, I'm permanently demonetized from YouTube, so that's why I'm supporting the channel. And everybody that's shopped there, thank you. And everybody that's going to shop there, here's a preemptive thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's keep on going. So now we got the 308. That came out in 1952. That was basically a shortened 30-06 case. Again, the parent case isn't 30-06, it's that other one, but no one cares about that. It's the 30-06. So basically, we have the M1 Grand, everything's looking great, and they're like, it's got some problems. One, it doesn't take a magazine. Kind of sucks. Two, we'd like to shorten up this action a little bit because we can get that kind of power out of a shorter case with modern powders. So, let's make the M1 Grand with a detachable magazine, with a slightly shorter cartridge, and let's see what happens. And bam, now you got the M14. Whew, looking great, right? All right, so ballistically speaking, what are we talking about here? The 270 has a higher, flatter trajectory, a high velocity, flatter trajectory. Yeah, in short range, the 30-06 does bring typically, now, I mean, different loads make differences, but generally like 168 grain 308 versus 140 grain 270. Up close, the 308 is going to put a little more kinetic energy on table. Now at 500 yards with those same projectiles, the 270 will pass the 308. The kinetic energy, in my opinion, is close. In my opinion, the kinetic energy on both of them is close enough to where it doesn't really matter. So, like a 130, 270, you're going to be looking at around like 31 to 3,000 feet per second. Not bad at all. I mean, that's not bad. So your 150 grain 308s and 180s in that, you're going to be closer to like 2,700 feet per second, depending on what you pick. Obviously, 150 grain is going to shoot a lot faster. 180 grain is going to be shooting a lot slower, and that's pretty much the basic range of a 308 is 150 up to 180. Now, obviously, there's always exceptions, like there's a 181 grain or something like that, or 130 grain. But generally speaking, when you're looking at 308, you're going to find it on the shelf from 150 to 180. I prefer to shoot 168 myself because I believe it's a good balance between kinetic energy, ballistics downrange. Like I said, that's what I prefer. So anyways, the 270 and the 308, up close, 308 is going to take it in, punch, knockdown power, kinetic energy. As we go out, the 270 is ultimately going to overpass the 308 at about 500 yards, but that's not really where it shines here, because ballistically speaking, in my opinion, the 270 is better. The 270 is better because it shoots flatter and it gets to the target quicker. So you're going to have less wind drift, you're going to have less chance for the target to move. It's going to be more forgiving for mistakes. If I miscall the range just a little bit, I'm shooting a 308 and a 270, the 308 is more likely to miss over, say, the 270. Often, the 270 is going to have a 8 to 15 inch less drop at 308 from 400 to 500 yards. Which is pretty awesome. 15 inches, like, that's a foot. So if I call the range slightly wrong, the 308 is going to hit roughly a foot lower. So, again, in my opinion, the 270, ballistically speaking, is better. Now, again, just to reiterate, not in kinetic energy because they both do pretty much the same job. Both of them have great kinetic energy on the target. Both of them just destroy medium game. Perfect for North American hunting. There's pretty much nothing in North America you're not going to be able to comfortably take with 308 or 270. All right, so fun fact, as you know, the bullet is basically a 6.8, a 277. Now, they did try to put this in a semi-automatic package with the Remington 6.8 SPC, and they got it in the AR-15. It didn't do that bad-ish. I mean, it's a shortened case. You're looking at 110 to 120 grain, and you're looking at between 2,500 feet per second to 2,700 feet per second, and 1,700 foot-pounds of kinetic energy to 2,000 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. So what does all that mean? Yes, it is a 270 bullet, but it's light enough and it's at a low enough power to where it's just not getting the impact and the ballistics that you're going to get out of a 270 hunting cartridge. A 270 hunting cartridge, I should just say a 270, is going to smoke with 6.8 SPC. All across the field, all day long. But there is a big game changer here. Now we finally got the SIG 277 Fury, or otherwise known as the 6.8 by 51 NATO. That is the same ballistics as a 270, shortened down and compressed and put it into a hybrid case. This way you can have super high pressures, and it's put in an AR-10 package. How amazing is that? So now you can actually shoot a 270 in a semi-automatic package. Yeah, they did have it before, but it's not the same. So you could put like a 270 in, I think it's a Browning Safari, and I think Remington had one, but we're talking about low capacity. It's like 3 to 5 round magazines. They're finicky, and let's be honest, they're freaking ugly. Yeah, the boomers might think they're great, but like people that are actually buying firearms now, because everybody that thinks that gun is great is already owning it. So the sales on that can't be that awesome. Because if somebody wanted it, they owned it. Like 50 years ago, they bought this rifle. Maybe not that long ago, but it's been a long time. To hit our market, to hit the people that we like, I shouldn't say we like, the people that like the things we like, they're going to be like Call of Duty players and stuff like that. So you need to move it into more of an AR-10 style package, and that's where the 6.8 by 51 NATO comes in. Because that is an AR-10 cartridge. You're not going to fit a 270 in the AR-10 magazine. It's just not going to fit. So, let's talk a little bit about this 277 Fury. You're looking at 135 to 150 grain bullets moving at 3,000 feet per second plus out of a 16-inch barrel. So it's doing what a 270 did in a 24-inch barrel. Well, now you have it in a 16-inch barrel, which is amazing. When I get my gun rights back, I am literally going to be looking at getting this cartridge because, yeah, why wouldn't I want a 270 in a semi-auto package? Again, yeah, the 308 and the 270, the 308 is going to bring a little more kinetic energy up close, but this 6.8 by 51 is more than just a 270 in a semi-automatic package. Also, they also gave it a 1.7 twist rate. So later, I can throw in high BC bullets. Makes a great DMR. Yeah, they'll probably revise it later and have it kind of like what the Creedmoors did, where they push all the bullets out, but you still had the barrel twist, so it's going to be awesome. This is a huge advancement. I can't wait to play with it. Anyway, where were we? Trajectory, so already talked about that. Now we got the 270 Legendary Flap. Already talked about that. Follow-up shots. So as I said, the 270 doesn't really fit in a semi-automatic package. The 308 does. You're looking at SCAR 17s, FNFALs, M1As, or M14s. What else we got here? AR-10s, mass-produced packages, reliably tested. A lot of the military had these things, these platforms. So they've been torture tested, they've been beat down. All the R&D is completely done. You can buy them at a very affordable price. A cheap AR-10, I shouldn't say cheap, a reasonably functioning, reasonably built AR-10, $800 to $1,500 all day long. Eats anything. Great for cogs, coyotes, just your fast follow-up shot, just doosh, white-tailed deer. Amazing. What do we got for semi-autos for 270? Well, we got the rare Browning BAR Safaris. We got the old Remington 7400s, which I'm pretty sure are discontinued. Very niche, not cheap at all, not great options. I mean, even just putting optics on them kind of sucks. So overall, in my opinion, without a doubt, the platform, the usability, and the cheapness of the particular cartridge goes to the 308. Again, 270 kills it ballistically, not kinetic energy on target, but like wind drift, drop, all that stuff. So what's the bottom line? The bottom line is shot placement matters. Yeah, there is a difference in kinetic energy between the two. 50 to 100 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, depending on, bullets and how far away it is, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, those numbers do matter, but do they really matter that much? So, on the deer here, where I can hit it with one, either 270 or 308, and it doesn't die, but when I hit it with the other 270 or 308, it does die. Again, shot placement matters, and that's where the 270 gets the edge because it flies flatter and has less wind drift, less drop. You're more likely to get a clean shot at range with a 270. But in, like, for example, Wisconsin, we're limited by 300 yards. There will always be a tree or a hill in the way trying to shoot farther than 300 yards. You can climb on a water tower, sure, but realistically speaking, unless you have acres of farm field and you're perched on the corner, it's really, really, really hard to shoot past 300 yards. Inside 300 yards, really, there's not much of a difference between these two cartridges. There just isn't. So do you like a bolt action? Go with 270. And the thing is, we're not talking about precision bolt actions like I was talking in other comparisons. So you can buy a cheap bolt action like a Mossberg Patriot or a Remington 700 and it will do the job just fine because we're talking about hunting. So we're looking at less than 4 minutes of angle. Likely, I'd like to be 2 and in, but it doesn't really matter that much because it's all going to be within 300 yards. Or if you like semi-auto, well, you go with the 308. But this is my opinion. This is how the article should have broke down. Not this clickbait, fluff, horoscope. Let's talk about the feelings and what these calibers mean about you. No, this is a realistic. This is how they perform differently. And again, well, let's wait because the game's getting leveled up here with the 277 Fury. But right now, in my opinion, the 308 wins because it goes in more semi-automatic packages. It's a cheaper round. It's got military backing. You can buy 308 in bulk. Yeah, 270 has a ballistic edge, but it's more expensive. You can only have it in a bolt gun, except for those super rare ones I was talking about before. So in my opinion, if you're going to pick between these two cartridges, 308 is the way to go. Anyways, appreciate you guys watching the channel. If you'd like to help support the channel directly, there's a couple of different ways to do it. One of the best ways is click on that Amazon affiliate link right down in the description. Even if you don't buy what that link is for, just clicking on it. Doing the Amazon shopping you were already going to do anyway, I had a little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.